In this video, I'm going to help you overcome victim mentality. Victim mentality is something that a lot of us are really locked in, stuck in this victim state of consciousness. The victim state of consciousness, the victim mentality is really just the survival mode where we're surviving and we're not thriving. We lack power. It's a state of disempowerment, being the victim, feeling hopeless, helpless, feeling like life is happening to us instead of for us. This is the victim mentality. So how do we get out? Well, one thing I want to help you see very clearly is that the victim state, being a victim, is something that we are unconsciously choosing. I know that might not sound nice, but it's the truth, is that we're unconsciously choosing to be a victim. You might be saying, well, how am I choosing to be a victim? Why would I choose to be a victim? I get you. But see that being a victim is only possible through blame. Blame is what creates a victim mentality. As long as I'm blaming someone else for my, let's say, unhappiness, for my life, for my circumstances in life, for my experience, for my discontentment, as long as I'm blaming someone else or I'm blaming circumstances, I'm now signing up to be the victim. So it's this blame that creates it. So if you really want to get out of victim mentality, you have to see clearly. You have to become more aware of where you're blaming things in your life, where you're blaming outside circumstances, where you're blaming other people for what's happening within you. If outside circumstances and other people determine what happens within me, what kind of way is living like this? Then what happens with me is controlled by everyone else, controlled by my outer environment. This is what I mean. This is a state of disempowerment, surviving, slavery. So if we can see very clearly that being a victim is only possible when I'm blaming other people and other circumstances, that's what creates the victim mentality. It's like the victim mentality is a consequence of blaming. So I have to become very aware of where I'm blaming in my life, what I'm blaming. I have to let go of blame. Blaming other people, blaming outside circumstances doesn't change anything that I'm experiencing. It doesn't serve me. It just disempowers me. Look at blame is equal to disempowering yourself. It's throwing away your power. Because really what blaming is actually doing, blaming outside circumstances, blaming other people, blaming or blame is like the opposite of responsibility. The ability to respond, responsibility, the ability to respond. If I blame, I don't have the ability to respond. That's why I feel so powerless. That's why I feel so hopeless, so helpless. So then I get stuck in this woe is me. Things are never going to be better. I can't change anything because I'm constantly throwing away my power. Because I'm constantly throwing away my responsibility because of blaming other people and outside circumstances for my life. So this is a huge step for self-empowerment, to empower yourself, is to see, to recognize, to become aware, to become conscious of the blame that we're dishing out, that we're blaming. It's my partner's fault I'm unhappy. It's this situation at work. That's why I'm stressed. It's this thing happening. That's why I have no money. It's this happening. That's why I don't have that. That's why this isn't going out. This is why I'm unhappy. This is why I'm discontent. If it's always out there and it's never in here, then how can I change it? So people who blame outside circumstances, blame others, it's throwing away the responsibility that you, or say, I don't want to change. But change requires responsibility. Change is the ability to respond. So when I see that, I take responsibility for my life. I take responsibility for my circumstances. I take responsibility for my unhappiness. I start seeing that I'm creating that. I'm creating that unhappiness. So I have to start realizing what am I doing to create that? And I'm pointing out one huge thing here is blame, not taking responsibility. As soon as I start taking responsibility, I have the ability to respond. This is empowerment. I'm now empowering myself with the ability to respond to life instead of just blaming. Things start changing. I'm going to shift. I'm now empowered. Life then becomes more supportive. When we're blaming and being in the victim state, how we live is very destructive. So there's a shift from being life destructive to life supporting, which gives us that feeling that life is happening for us, not to us. That everything is happening for our greater good when we start taking that responsibility. When we start saying, no longer is our outer environment controlling what's happening within. No longer are other people controlling me. So then you start developing more of this self-autonomy. All from this responsibility, because responsibility is power. So in order to become empowered, we have to take responsibility for ourselves. And total responsibility, taking responsibility in a totality, totally taking total responsibility in all areas of our life for ourselves as a whole, then this is empowerment. But catch yourself when you blame. Because once you start blaming, you'll notice that you feel heavy, you feel stuck, you feel hopeless, you feel helpless, you feel like a prisoner, you feel like a victim. But you can shift. You can shift from victim to victor, from victim to hero. There's something that you can do. Well, what are you going to do? Which then you're able to take action. Those who are playing the victim, they don't really take action. They complain a lot, but complaining doesn't do anything to change our circumstances. Complaining doesn't serve us. Blaming doesn't serve us. So it's becoming aware of the things that we're doing. The blaming and the complaining, it doesn't change anything. But responsibility can change because now we have the ability to respond. And we respond here and now in the present moment, where is the only place to take action. So that's where the action is taken. So instead of just complaining and sitting and feeling like we're stuck, we're now taking action. We're now moving. So hopefully you can see clearly the mechanism of victimization, being blamed. Tried to make it really simple. Just show you one thing. And now become aware. try and catch your words when you're then, oh, but it's because of this. Oh, because of that person, that's why that happened. Or because of this. I'm not saying that everything is your fault and that now you have to then feel guilty. Don't do that. Don't beat yourself up over things. That doesn't serve you either. Guilting yourself doesn't serve you at all. It's another form of disempowerment. What I'm saying is just take responsibility. Take responsibility for your life and then just make the necessary changes that you need to. And what you'll find is you'll feel less fear, because fear is created from thinking about the future. And when you think about the future and you're blaming circumstances, you feel very helpless and afraid and scared, like there's nothing you can do. But when you take the responsibility, you have a sense of power, like there is something that you can do. And now you're in the present moment where you're taking action. So now you're moving. You're now in the flow of life. You're not stuck in your head thinking about all the negative things that can happen, where you're creating all this stress and worry and anxiety and fear. So then you feel that power when you're in that present moment where you're taking action, where there's something that you can do. And this comes from, again, seeing where we're blaming and stop. Stop blaming. It hasn't served anyone. And it will never serve anyone. It's very self-destructive. It's a mechanism that's self-destructive. Responsibility is supportive to your life. It supports your life. It's empowering. So you take responsibility for your life. So you drop the blame, let go of blame, and take responsibility. And you'll find yourself very empowered.